Buongiorno. Today I want to talk to you about how to order a coffee in Italy. And this video doesn't really cover how the coffee bars work. I do have another video on that where I think you'll find some really helpful information. But I want to talk to you about how Italian coffee drinks are different than what you might be used to, and some of the words and phrases to order a coffee, as well as some of the things that come with the coffee that you should know about and how to say those in Italian. But the first thing that you should know is that a coffee is un caffè, un caffè. And when you're ordering un caffè, you're going to get an espresso by default. That's about 30 milliliters of coffee, just under an ounce. And if we wanted to ask for it, we see the expression on the right. We could say un caffè per favore, un caffè per favore. Now notice up there I wrote liscio, meaning plain. That means not having any milk or anything added to it. So the barista may ask you if you want it liscio, just a good word to know. But asking for un caffè, you're typically going to get it plain anyway. Another drink that's popular is un caffè macchiato. Un caffè macchiato. Macchiato means spotted. And by spotted, we mean spotted with a few drops of milk, maybe a tablespoon or so, but not a lot. And it's still in that small ceramic espresso cup that you get. We have un cappuccino, and I know they're famous all over the world. But some countries, particularly Anglo-Saxon countries, you might find a real big coffee with a couple of shots of espresso in it and a lot of foam, and they're quite hot. Well, in Italy, they're pretty standard. It's going to be one shot of espresso with about 4 ounces of milk, about 120 milliliters of milk, and that will be steamed. And there's a bit of a froth on top, but not too much. And they're not so hot they're scalding. So to ask for different drinks, we had the first one, un caffè per favore. If we wanted a cappuccino or even a cafe, but I'll use cappuccino as the example, we could say I would like. So we could say vorrei un cappuccino, vorrei un cappuccino. Another way to ask for something is by saying salve, hello. Posso avere un caffè macchiato, per favore? Salve, posso avere un caffè macchiato, per favore? So, hello, could I have a caffè macchiato? And again, you can interchange the drinks in these. But these aren't the only drinks. Let's cover a couple more. We have un caffè lungo, un caffè lungo. This would be an espresso, but what they do is they keep the machine on, so more espresso goes into that cup. And what the result is, you end up getting an espresso that's a bit more watered down, but it's not like it's weak. So if you like something a bit longer, you'd like to sip on it a bit more, if you find the espresso is a bit too strong, you could try this. Then we have un caffè americano. Un caffè americano. This is an espresso with hot water added, but it's not a huge, Starbucks style 20-ounce coffee. This is still in that small cappuccino cup, and it's one shot of espresso, and they add some water to it. So it's not a huge American coffee, but it's more along the American style of coffee. Un latte macchiato, un latte macchiato. Now, this would be a bit bigger than a cappuccino. It's the same amount of espresso, but with more milk, and it's less froth. So you might find it kind of tastes milky or weak if you're used to a strong latte. If we wanted to ask for sugar at the coffee bar, we could say, dove lo zucchero, per favore? Dove lo zucchero, per favore? Where is the sugar? Or we could ask, posso avere dello zucchero, per favore? Posso avere dello zucchero, per favore? Can I have some sugar, please? Maybe you want to have an artificial sweetener instead of sugar. Well, bars have this, and you could ask for un dolcificante. Un dolcificante, per favore. Okay, we have some other drinks now that I want to cover. So let's talk about un marocchino. Un marocchino. A marocchino is like a mini mocha or a mini cappuccino. It's smaller than a cappuccino, might be an espresso cup or a little bit bigger. They tend to add chocolate to it, but each bar may do them a bit differently. This one they get a little bit creative on. It's worth trying if you like that sort of thing. If it's hot out now and you want something to cool you down, you don't want a hot coffee, you could try un caffè shakerato. Un caffè shakerato. This would be like a caffè lungo, so it's an espresso with a bit more water, and it's shaken with ice and with sugar. We also have un caffè corretto. un cafe corretto. This would be an espresso with some alcohol added to it. Typically it's grappa, but you could get sambuca or you could ask for a different kind of liqueur if you want one. Just make sure you ask the barista. They may even say, come, how do you want it? Correcto. If you have an issue with milk and you're looking for an alternative, soy milk you might find in some bars, other alternatives, hit or miss, I guess, depending on where you are. But if you wanted to ask for soy milk, you could say, avete latte di soia? Avete latte di soia? Now, if you wanted just a little bit of milk in your coffee, maybe you get your coffee, you realize it's a bit strong, you want some milk in it, you could ask for un goccio di latte, per favore. Un goccio di latte, literally a drop of milk, but kind of meant to mean a splash of milk in your coffee. Some other things that we should know. Well, you should know that latte means milk. So if you ask for un latte when you walk into the bar, they will bring you a glass of milk. Might be hot, might be cold, I don't know, but that's what you're going to get. So also, double shots are not a thing. So asking for double shots isn't very common. You could try it, I guess, if that's what you're into, but not very common. Typically served in a ceramic cup. They're usually for here. If you're at a train station or maybe the airport, they might have paper cups where you take them to go because I know people are on the move, but not very typical to get them to go. They're often consumed right at the counter. So you order it and you kind of lean up against that counter and drink it pretty quickly. Sitting down is a table service and maybe a charge to it. So you should be aware of that. You also might pay afterwards, particularly if you're not in a tourist spot where there are just so many people in there. They might if it's a bit more relaxed of a location, you may have your coffee first and you'll pay when you're done. The tip is not necessary. You could leave 50 cents or something like that if you wanted to on the counter when you leave, but not expected, and you don't have to do that. Saying grazie is quite important. So before you leave, make sure you say grazie. That's part of the Italian culture to acknowledge a barista when you leave, and very polite to make a good impression in Italy. One last thing I didn't mention is cappuccino. You may have heard this one before, but typically drinks a lot of milk are not consumed after lunch. So once you get through breakfast hour, it's not customary to do that. Last thing I will mention is that if you like this video, I have another one on Italian coffee bars and how they work. So please subscribe. Please like the video if you like it. And I have a book, A Guide to Italy, Cultural Insights and Tips to Maximize Your Trip, where I consolidate a lot of this content. I think you'll find it really helpful. So if you're interested, please do check it out. And grazie mille. Buona giornata. Have a wonderful day.